The 1936 Olympics is most famous for being hosted by Germany during the reign of Adolf Hitler, and also for Jesse Owens' amazing display of black excellence, winning 4 gold medals right in Hitler's face. But there was something else very interesting about the Olympics beyond the tense politics with Hitler. It was the fact that 2 different countries showed up at the 1936 Olympics only to realize that they had the same exact flag. At the 1936 Olympics, Haiti and Liechtenstein showed up hoping to compete and make their countries proud. For Liechtenstein, this was going to be their first ever appearance at the Olympic Games, and they selected 6 athletes to compete across 3 sports in the hopes of beating the odds and winning an Olympic medal at the very first time of trying. Meanwhile, for Haiti, this was going to be their 5th appearance at the Olympics, but even though they could have been considered more experienced compared to a country like Liechtenstein, Haiti was sending just 1 athlete to the 1936 Olympics, so their odds of winning a medal were also quite low as well. Now, both countries landed in Berlin with the hopes of doing their countries proud and making big headlines. And the truth is, they got their wish, because Haiti and Liechtenstein made major headlines at the 1936 Olympic Games. But it wasn't for great performances in sports. It was because probably for the first and only time in the entire history of the Olympics, 2 countries showed up to the games and realized that they had the same exact flag. It was the same colors, in the same shade, with the same number of stripes, and the same design. You couldn't tell the difference if you tried. Now, if you're into flags, then you know quite a number of countries have flags that are really similar. So let's go through a few examples real quick. First, Ivory Coast and Ireland. Both countries are separated by about 3,000 miles and the Atlantic Ocean. But the design of their flags are still very similar. It's literally the same colors, but arranged differently. Now, for a much closer example, let's go over to Romania and Chad. Again, these are 2 countries on separate continents which have absolutely no similarities, but they probably have the most similar flags in the world. It's not just the same color and stripes, it's also the same arrangement of colors as well. The only difference is in the shade of the colors, but at first glance, it's easy to pass one for the other. But no matter how similar the flags in these examples were, there were still differences. But with the flags of Haiti and Liechtenstein, that wasn't the case. Their flags were not just similar, they were an exact match in every single way. So how could 2 independent countries separated by about 5,000 miles with very different cultures and very different everything end up with the same exact flag? The truth is, nobody knows. But what we do know is that Haiti's flag had been in existence since about 1820, while Liechtenstein's flag had been in existence since about 1921. So the design of Haiti's flag preceded the design of Liechtenstein's flag by about a century. But this doesn't necessarily mean that Liechtenstein took wholesale inspiration from Haiti's flag. Instead, most historians agree that however odd it was, this was a very random coincidence. But coincidence or not, having the same flag at the Olympics was still a problem that needed to be solved. Why? Because the Olympics is about competition, right? But it's also literally about flying your nation's flag. Now, if you watch any Olympic Games ever, then you know a huge part of the Olympics is the opening ceremony. It officially kicks off the start of every edition of the Olympic Games. One of the biggest parts of the opening ceremony is something called the Parade of Nations. Basically, it's this cool thing where all of the athletes representing each country that's competing at the Olympics come into the main stadium flying the flag of their country.
Greece, Aruba.
Now, the parade is not just cool, it's also historically been maybe the most significant show of patriotism during the Olympics. Like I said, it's literally flying your country's flag. But away from the opening ceremony, national flags still play a very visible role in nearly every part of the Olympic Games. Athletes have their flags on their kits as they compete. And when athletes win a medal, one of the first things they do is grab their country's flag. And even when medals are being presented to the athletes, the flags are once again the star of the show. So it probably was a good thing that Haiti and Liechtenstein realized they had the same exact flag before the Olympics started and before the opening ceremony of the 1936 Olympics, because it would have been incredibly awkward and even more confusing if 2 countries had come out in the Parade of Nations waving the same exact flag, especially since the 1936 Olympics was also the first Olympic Games to be televised, with broadcast in 41 countries. So this would have been confusing not just for everyone inside the Olympic Stadium in Berlin, but also to millions of people watching at home. Everyone would be thinking, why do those 2 countries have the same flag? But luckily, that awkward situation was avoided because they discovered the common flag problem before the opening ceremony. And so both countries decided to make slight changes to their flags and avoid any confusion and drama at the opening ceremony. Now, so here's what they did. Haiti added the national crest of their country to the flag for the opening ceremony, while Liechtenstein did two things to differentiate their flag. The first is they got permission from the government of the country to carry the flag upside down at the opening ceremony. And the second is they added a crown to the corner of the flag. Now, with these changes made, it meant that the opening ceremony came and went without any awkward drama for both countries. But more importantly, it meant that these two countries could be differentiated throughout the 1936 Olympic Games. But the changes that were made at the Olympic Games were only temporary. Officially, both countries still had the same flag. And so once the 1936 Olympics were over, Haiti and Liechtenstein knew they had to make permanent changes to their flags, or maybe even come up with new flags entirely. But rather than reinvent the wheel and create new flags from scratch, both countries decided to make slight changes to the existing version of their flags. And these changes weren't radical. In fact, for the most part, they took inspiration from the temporary changes they had made at the 1936 Olympics. And so less than 1 year after the 1936 Olympics was over, Liechtenstein updated the design of its national flag by officially adding a gold crown to the top left corner of the red and blue striped design. And on the other hand, Haiti also settled for a change by officially including its national coat of arms centrally on the flag as well. And now both countries no longer have the same flag. So I guess you can think of the Olympics as one of the most important sporting competitions in the world and in all of human history, or as the place to go to find out if your country has the same exact flag design as another country. That's it for today. If you enjoyed this video and you want to watch more stuff like this, then check out this next video about how countries around the world were named. See you in the next one.